Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, as I reflect on all the different experiences I've had this year, there's so much that I want to share with you. And sometimes I'll go over the same things often because they're the same issues that come up to me every time I'm going fishing. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the design of rods and reels. And if you go into any shop or go online and look at any of the big sports headquarters that sell fishing tackle, you'll see that there's every company has a different looking rod, different color, different things that they say that make that rod stand out, and the same with the reels. They all basically try to do the same thing. But there really are differences, and I think if fishing does become something important to you. It isn't just a way to get the kids out there, the family out there, which is wonderful. But if you are anything like me, you come to really love some of the aspects of it, then the rod that you use, it really becomes very personal. And what works for you might not work for someone else. And I want to be specific in what happened to me in the fishing that I did this week. I was fishing one of my favorite ponds that I can wade, and I was catching pike. Well, I want to take you with me and give you an idea of what I do when I'm fishing. And one of the things that I do that most people don't, that are casual fishermen, is from the moment I start in the water, I never stop casting. And if I was out there 4 hours the last time I went, 4 hours of wading in the water and casting nonstop for that period of time. Nonstop. As soon as I reel in, I cast again, and I'll whip that as far as I can cast it. And that's a whole nother radio report that I want to tell you about what that means. But here's what I was noticing. It about an hour in while I was doing this, and probably in that hour I'd cast at least 100 times. I started noticing my hand that I cast with, my fingers going numb, or saying numb is too dramatic, prickling. It's like the whole carpal tunnel thing. And boy, am I ever getting carpal tunnel syndrome from the repetitive motion of casting. So what could help me? And here's where I'm coming back to the beginning of this report in talking about the rod being personal. The way the handle of that rod, and in this case it's a spinning rod, is designed will determine, number one, how comfortable it is to use, how easy it is to feel or not feel the strikes. Every design is a little bit different. And in the case of the rod that I've been using, the handle may not be just the right thing for all this repetitive motion, in that it was stressing that area between my fingers that I lay on that rod. And this is a big point. This really is, because when we're fishing, there's an awful lot of things that need to come together, and a lot of things that can bring us pleasure or pain. And in this case, it was bordering on pain because the rod design, the handle, wasn't quite right for all this incredible stress that I was putting on my hands. And I think back to how that has been important to me for my whole life, and I haven't really talked about it. The comfort and the lightness of having a rod that you can just whip out there time after time after time after time through the hours, it really becomes important. So I can't tell you what is the best, because each of our hands may be shaped differently, our needs are different. But in my case, having the lightest possible rod that I can use that still has a backbone to catch those fish, and the most comfortable handle. And I'm not really sure how to tell you, but I think more tapered than thick, so that as my hands gripping it, it's less stress on it. Whether you use cork or one of the synthetic parts of the handle can become important, but it really is something that you might want to look at more closely. You can go in a shop and you can pick up a reel and you can reel it and it feels fine. You can't tell how well that's going to work until you get out on the water, because shapes and different parts of that design only come into play when you're fishing with it. With a rod, it's a little bit different. You can pick up a rod in the shop. You can hold it in your hand. You can imagine casting it. You can move your wrist a bit, and you can feel whether that feels comfortable in your hand or not. And I think that should be one of your top criterions for buying that rod. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.